Hi, welcome to my channel. Now, we uncover the untold story of the French Revolution, a nation on the edge. In the late 18th century, France was one of the most powerful countries in the world. It had grand palaces, a mighty army, and a king who ruled by divine right. But behind the glittering walls of Versailles, millions of ordinary French people were starving. The rich, nobles and clergy, lived in luxury. They owned most of the land and paid almost no taxes. The poor, known as the Third Estate, worked endlessly, paid heavy taxes, and had no political voice. By 1788, bad harvests led to food shortages. Bread, the main food of the poor, became so expensive that people could no longer afford it. Anger grew across the country. Something was about to break. The royal family and their world. France's king at the time was Louis XVI, a well-meaning but weak ruler. His queen, Marie Antoinette, was famous for her beauty and infamous for her extravagance. While people starved, rumors spread that she said, "Let them eat cake," a phrase symbolizing royal ignorance, though historians now agree she likely never said it. The royal court at Versailles Palace seemed like another world, filled with dances, jewels, and endless spending, while the government sank deeper into debt. France's involvement in expensive wars, especially helping the American Revolution, 1776 to 1783, had drained the treasury. By the late 1780s, the government was nearly bankrupt. The Estates General and the spark of revolution. In May 1789, King Louis XVI called a meeting of the Estates General, the representative assembly of France, for the first time in 175 years. It consisted of three groups. 1. First Estate, the clergy, church leaders. 2. Second Estate, the nobility. 3. Third Estate, everyone else, peasants, merchants, workers, intellectuals. Each estate had one vote, which meant the first and second estates could always outvote the third. Even though the third represented 97% of the population, the third estate demanded fair representation, one person, one vote. When the king refused, they broke away and declared themselves the National Assembly, claiming to represent the people of France. This was the first open act of defiance, the spark that would set the revolution ablaze. The tennis court oath. Locked out of their meeting hall, members of the National Assembly gathered inside a nearby indoor tennis court on June 20th, 1789. There, they took a solemn vow, the tennis court oath, promising not to disband until France had a new constitution. It was a bold moment, the people challenging royal authority. The king hesitated, but the movement had already begun. Across Paris, tension rose like a storm. The storming of the Bastille. On July 14th, 1789, thousands of angry Parisians marched to the Bastille, a medieval fortress and prison that symbolized royal tyranny. They demanded weapons and gunpowder to defend themselves. When the guards refused, the crowd attacked. After fierce fighting, the people took the Bastille and tore it apart brick by brick. The fall of the Bastille became the symbol of freedom. Today, July 14th, is celebrated as Bastille Day, France's national holiday. Just like Independence Day in the U.S., the message was clear. The people of France would no longer be silent. The Declaration of the Rights of Man, inspired by Enlightenment thinkers like Rousseau, Voltaire, and Montesquieu, the National Assembly drafted a document that would change the world. The Declaration of the Rights of Man and of the Citizen, August 1789. It proclaimed that all men are born and remain free and equal in rights. It called for liberty, property, security, and resistance to oppression. It became the foundation for modern democracy. But freedom, once unleashed, is not easy to control. The Women's March on Versailles, as food shortages worsened, anger turned to action. In October 1789, thousands of women from Paris, armed with sticks, knives, and even cannons, marched 12 miles to Versailles. They demanded bread and justice. They forced the king and queen to leave Versailles and return to Paris, effectively ending royal independence. The people had brought their rulers to the capital under their watchful eyes. The fall of the monarchy. In the following years, France was transformed. The monarchy was abolished. The church lost its lands and power. Nobles fled the country fearing for their lives. But political divisions soon emerged. Revolutionaries split into factions. Moderates who wanted a constitutional monarchy, and radicals who wanted a republic with no king at all. One of the most influential groups was the Jacobins, led by Maximilien Robespierre, a passionate, sharp-tongued lawyer who believed in equality and virtue at any cost. The execution of the king and queen. In 1792, France declared war on Austria and Prussia, fearing that foreign monarchs might try to crush the revolution. The war went badly. People blamed the king for secretly supporting France's enemies. In January 1793, King Louis XVI was put on trial for treason. The National Convention voted to execute him by guillotine. A year later, Marie Antoinette met the same fate. A monarchy was dead. France was now a republic, but one drenched in blood. The Reign of Terror, the revolution that began with liberty and equality, soon descended into fear and chaos. From 1793 to 1794, Robespierre and the Committee of Public Safety ruled France through terror. They executed anyone suspected of being against the revolution, nobles, priests, even former allies. The guillotine became the national razor. More than 17,000 people were executed, and many more imprisoned. But eventually, the revolutionaries turned on each other. Robespierre himself was arrested and executed in July 1794, ending the Reign of Terror. The rise of Napoleon. After years of bloodshed, France longed for stability. A brilliant young general named Napoleon Bonaparte rose through the army ranks. In 1799, he seized power in a coup d'état and declared himself first consul, later Emperor of France. Napoleon brought peace and reform, but also began new wars across Europe. He carried the ideals of the revolution, liberty, equality, and nationalism, to every corner of the continent, even as he built an empire of his own. Legacy of the French Revolution. The French Revolution changed not only France, but the entire world. It ended the absolute monarchy. It introduced democracy, citizenship, and human rights to global consciousness. It inspired revolutions in Europe, Latin America, and beyond. It showed that ordinary people, united by a shared dream, could challenge kings and change history. But it also taught a painful lesson, that freedom can come with violence, and that power, once taken, can corrupt even the purest of causes. France reborn. From the ashes of monarchy and terror, a new France emerged, one based on law, equality, and national pride. The tricolor flag, blue, white, and red, became the symbol of the people. The words, liberty, equality, fraternity, became the nation's motto and a guiding light for modern democracies around the world. Even today, every revolution, every protest for justice, carries the spirit of France in 1789. The revolution began with hunger and ended with hope. It was not perfect, but it proved that when people stand together, even kings can fall. Finally, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share this World History Facts Hub channel.